Berbers are the most racist people in Africa. Yeah, I said it. And before you start crying in the comments, hear me out. My name's Al-Gaddafi Al-Enezi. I'm a proud Muslim, a proud Arab, and I'm from Libya. Not Morocco, not Algeria. I'm from the land of the Gaddafi tribe, the Al-Ghous clan, and Nizar, straight from Nejd in modern-day Saudi Arabia. So no, I'm not some random guy on Reddit parroting identity politics. Our history is written in stone, and I'm sick of watching my people get erased. You go online, scroll through any post about North Africa, and what do you see? If you're Arab, get out of Africa. Libya is AMAZIGH. You're not Arab, you're Arabized. And my personal favorite, all of North Africa is Tamazgha. No, the hell it's not. And we're not going anywhere. We Arabs of North Africa have become the punching bag for a loud, delusional, and increasingly vicious group of online Berber nationalists. And let me make one thing clear. This isn't about defending some empire or glorifying a colonizer. This is about defending the identity of millions of people who've been Arab for hundreds and hundreds of years, genetically, culturally, linguistically, and yet are now being told to shut up and sit down in the lands they've lived in for generations. I'm not talking about your average Kabyle man who just wants to live his life. I'm talking about the online army of Berberists, yes, Berberists, who infest every single comment section, hijack every post, and scream in all caps, "We were here first." Yeah? So were the pharaohs, so were the Romans, so were the Greeks. Where are they now? History isn't frozen in time. People move, civilizations shift, and tribes migrate. That's how the world works. But for some reason, when it comes to Arabs in North Africa, we're not allowed to exist. Not as Arabs, not as descendants of Banu Sulaim, Banu Hilal, Anisa, or any of the Arabian tribes that settled in Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and Mauritania. To them, we're just Arabized Berbers. My dear brothers and sisters, subhanallah, if you're hearing this, Allah has placed a yearning in your heart, a call to live a life where your deen shines bright, unburdened by the fitna of this dunya. Are you feeling that pull? That restlessness to find a righteous spouse in a land where your deen thrives, or a parent yearning to raise your children speaking Arabic in Muslim Arab countries like Tunisia, Oman, Algeria, or Saudi Arabia, where they are not only surrounded by the deen, but the Arabic language bringing the Quran's words to life. Or perhaps you're drawn to the Muslim lands of Asia, like Indonesia or Malaysia, to protect your faith. I wrote 5 practical steps to plan your Hijrah, to guide you to a life rooted in the deen, inshallah. This ebook isn't just advice, it's a roadmap. Learn to purify your intention, choose a land that nurtures your soul, secure halal income, and prepare yourself and your family spiritually. Whether you seek a spouse, a safe home for your kids, or a place to preserve your deen, these steps are your guide. And like your brother in Islam, I'm sharing this wisdom with you as if we were doing it over a cup of mint green tea, my favorite. Don't let fear hold you back. Purchase 5 practical steps to plan your Hijrah now by clicking the link below. Start your journey to a new life, inshallah. Act today. Your deen and family deserve it. Let me ask you something. If I speak Arabic, live by Arab customs, eat Arab food, wear Arab clothes, belong to an Arab tribe with Arabian DNA, and my phenotype and culture matches more with Bedouins from Saudi Arabia than with any mountain tribe in the Atlas, what the hell am I then? Don't insult me and tell me I'm confused. I know exactly who I am. I've taken a DNA test and my results displayed the ZS5000 mutation, which is a branch of the ZS5010 mutation, which is a branch of the FGC1 mutation, the J1 haplogroup of the Adnanite tribes of the Arabian Peninsula. I'm not Arabized. I'm genetically Arab, and so are millions of Libyans. But that's the thing, innit? This whole AMAZIGH revival isn't about cultural pride anymore. It's about rewriting history. It's about telling people like me that I don't belong, that my identity is fake, that unless I call myself AMAZIGH, I'm just a colonizer with a camel. These are the same people who parade around with a flag designed in France by a Kabyle separatist and a white Frenchman, screaming, "Free Tamazgha," while typing their insults in Arabic, the very language they claim is foreign. You want your identity respected? Respect mine. Because I'll be honest, the hate I've seen from Berberists online makes the worst tribalism look like a friendly football match. And this isn't just about me. It's about every young North African Arab kid being told they're a traitor for loving their Arab roots. It's about watching our dialects, tribes, and history be denied in favor of a fake and fabricated pan-Berber identity that never existed. I love the diversity of North Africa. I respect the Tuareg, the Nafusi, the Zuwara, the Tebu, every people who have contributed to the diversity of Libya, even though they are a fraction of the population. But don't come to me with this colonial, France-baked fantasy called Tamazgha and tell me I'm the outsider. I am not confused about who I am. I am Arab, I am Libyan, and I refuse to be erased. Salamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. Want to strengthen our ummah and support this channel? Become a channel member today, inshallah. Your membership fuels my mission to build a vibrant Muslim community, sharing stories and knowledge that we can all learn from. Your generosity reflects the nature of charity we Muslims have in our hearts, alhamdulillah. Choose a tier and enjoy exclusive perks like members-only videos and special shout-outs. Together, let's grow this blessed community. Click join now and be part of something special. Let me tell you a secret most people are too scared to admit. There was never such a thing as Tamazgha. It didn't exist, not as a nation, not as a state, not even as a unified culture. It's a recent invention, a post-colonial fantasy born in exile and fertilized by resentment. A concept pushed not by the actual tribes of North Africa, but by a specific type of Kabyle intellectual who saw power in myth-making. Before the French came, the word AMAZIGH wasn't even in regular use. The tribes of the mountains, deserts, and coastlines of North Africa didn't see themselves as one people. They were Riffian, Kabyle, Nafusi, Mozabites, Tuareg, and a dozen other regional groups who often fought each other more than they fought outsiders. But once France invaded Algeria and colonized it for over a century, everything changed. The French saw Arabness as a threat, a sign of pan-Islamic unity that could be dangerous to their colonial grip. So they started funding and promoting the idea of a Berber identity, separate from the Arabs, separate from Islam. They passed the Berber Decree of 1930, which stripped indigenous Muslims in the Kabyle region of Algeria from Islamic civil law and placed them under French legal codes. Why? Because the French knew that the deen was the glue of resistance. Break that unity, and you break the people. And from that moment on, the seeds of division were planted. French scholars began obsessing over the indigenous languages, trying to unify different languages and scripts under one banner, a banner many indigenous tribes didn't even recognize themselves in. Let that sink in. The language they now call Tamazgha was barely intelligible from one region to the next. It was not a unifying language, it was a patchwork of languages. Then came the exiles. After independence, many Kabyle intellectuals fled to France, where they found a new home in Parisian universities. It was there that Tamazgha was born, not in Tizi Ouzou, not in Zuwara, not in the Sahara, but in French lecture halls. A fantasy of an ancient land stretching from the Siwa oasis in Egypt to the Canary Islands, where every North African was once a noble Amazigh warrior, until the evil Arab came riding in on a camel and Arabized everyone. The same tired colonial narrative, just dressed up in native clothes. And this myth picked up steam. In the 80s and 90s, Berber activism grew louder. No longer content with preserving culture, they wanted to replace the Arab identity. Maps were drawn, flags were designed, and fake history was published. The old tribal names were thrown away, replaced with AMAZIGH, a term forced onto thousands of people who never used it for themselves. It became less about culture and more about politics, less about memory and more about revenge. I'm not denying the right of any tribe to preserve their history. Subhanallah, every people should honor their roots. But what we're seeing today isn't pride, it's erasure. The myth of Tamazgha is being weaponized to claim that we Arabs are invaders, occupiers, foreigners. Excuse me? Our tribes have been in Libya since the 11th century. That's nearly 1,000 years of uninterrupted Arab settlement, language, marriages, and tribal organization. We didn't show up yesterday. We didn't hop off a plane from the Gulf. We're not settlers. We're the sons of this land, just like you. But Berberists can't stand that truth, so they twist it. They say the Arab conquest didn't bring settlers, only language. Really? Then who are Banu Sulaim? What about Banu Hilal and Al-Makil from Yemen? What about my tribe Aniza from Nejd? You think we're made up? We didn't just bring Arabic. We are Arabic. We brought a language, yes, but we brought poetry, laws, customs, bloodlines. We intermarried between our tribes, we settled, we fought, we lived, and we died here. And now, a group of Reddit and Twitter activists and Western NGOs want to tell us that all of that is fake, that our names, our identity, our history, all of it is the result of Arabization. That's the real colonial mindset. They say, before Islam, you were AMAZIGH. And I say, before Islam, you were pagans. So what? Islam didn't erase your culture. It uplifted it. It gave you honor. It connected you to a global ummah, the same way it did with Persians, Turks, Indonesians, and Africans. But somehow, only in North Africa do we act like Islam was a curse, like Arabic was some virus. The truth is, this new Amazigh identity is based more on French textbooks than on Islamic history. It's driven by spite, not sincerity, by political grievance, not heritage. And this is where it gets dangerous, because once you create a myth, especially one soaked in grievance, you create enemies. You need villains. You need scapegoats. And who's easier to blame than the Arab? Suddenly, everything bad becomes the fault of Arabs. Corruption? Arabs. Poverty? Arabs. Oppression? Arabs. Even in places where the governments are themselves part indigenous, still, it's the Arabs who must be purged. And where does it stop? When you rewrite history, you rewrite the future. And in their vision of Tamazgha, we don't exist. Our tribes don't exist. Our dialects don't exist. Our identity is denied, mocked, and called false. Well, I'm here to tell you, we are not false. We are not confused. We are not going anywhere. We are Arab, and North Africa is our home. I'll be honest, growing up in the UK as a Libyan Arab, I always felt that sense of pride in who I was. I carried my name like a flag. I knew where I came from, and I never let anyone tell me otherwise. But still, a part of me always wondered, what would it be like to meet Aniza from the peninsula? The one still living in the Gulf in the land of our forefathers? Turns out, I didn't have to go looking too far. Some of the first Aniza brothers I met were actually students who had come to study in the UK. Saudis, Kuwaitis, a few from Bahrain, all from different corners of the Arabian Peninsula. But when they found out I was Libyan, and from Aniza too, subhanallah, it was like we'd known each other for years. We'd sit for hours over coffee, talking about our families, our histories, our dialects. They'd ask me about Libya, I'd ask them about Saudi Arabia, and every time we'd find another link, another shared proverb, another piece of our heritage that survived time and distance. It reminded me, this tribe isn't just a name on paper, it's a living bond. But one meeting stood out above all the rest. His name was Sultan, a Saudi student I met at a conference. We were both just mingling, chatting with brothers, when he overheard me mention the Gaddafi tribe. He turned around and asked, "You're from Gaddafi, from Libya?" I nodded. "Yeah, we're from Aniza." His eyes lit up. "Wallahi, I'm from Aniza too." And just like that, we were brothers. From that day on, Sultan treated me like family. He'd message me regularly, always checking in. We'd share stories, voice notes, even family photos. It wasn't surface level friendship. It was deep, real. The kind that only comes when you both carry the same bloodline, even if you were born thousands of miles apart. One day, he told me something that hit me straight in the chest. He said, "Bro, you have to come to Saudi one day. We have big tribal gatherings every year. I want you to come meet your cousins, the other sons of Aniza. They'll be honored to see you." I was speechless. The thought of standing there in the land of our origin, surrounded by distant cousins, elders, poets, it felt like a dream. I told him, Inshallah, I'll come. But on one condition, you come to Libya first. You've got cousins waiting for you too. He laughed. Deal! That's the beauty of Arab tribes. Borders may divide us, but blood always brings us back. Even now, living in the West, I never feel alone. I know I've got brothers across the Arabian Peninsula. I know my name, my lineage, my history connects me to people who've never even met me, but will open their homes for me in a heartbeat. And wallahi, I do the same for them. Our identity isn't just something we post about online, it's something we live. It's in the way we greet each other, the way we sit with our elders, the way we carry ourselves with dignity. That's not nostalgia, that's heritage, and it deserves to be preserved. So if you're reading this and you're from a tribe, whether Arab, African, or anywhere else, don't let the world turn your roots into a weakness. Stay connected. Reach out to your cousins. Learn your family tree, honor your elders, and never be ashamed of where you came from. Because sometimes all it takes is one conversation to turn a stranger into your brother, and one random occurrence to find the family you never knew you had. Let's get one thing straight. We didn't come out of nowhere. Our names, our tribes, our dialects, they're not some costume we put on after watching too much Gulf TV. They're older than most of the modern borders in North Africa. They're older than colonial maps, older than this entire Tamazgha myth. And while some people today are busy Googling, where did Arabs in Libya come from, we've been carrying the answers on our backs, in our family trees, and in our honor for centuries. Let me start with the obvious. Banu Hilal and Banu Sulaim, two names you'll always hear, either respected or slandered, depending on who's talking. The AMAZIGH nationalists hate these names. They act like they're some dark chapter of history, the supposed Arab invasion that ruined North Africa forever. But if you actually knew history instead of half-baked propaganda, you'd understand why these tribes were sent and why they stayed. In the 11th century, the Fatimid Caliphate, originally based in North Africa, was betrayed by the Zirid dynasty in Ifriqiya. The Zirids broke away from their loyalty to the Fatimids and switched allegiance to the Abbasids. As punishment, the Fatimids encouraged Arab Bedouin tribes, mainly Banu Hilal and Banu Sulaim, to migrate westward into modern-day Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria. They weren't mercenaries, they weren't colonists, they were Arabs, free tribesmen, and they brought with them real tribal structures, oral poetry, lineages, and language. They didn't just come to fight, they came to settle with their entire families. And settle they did. All across Libya, you'll find tribes directly descended from these Arabs. Don't take my word for it, DNA tests don't lie. Ask any real genealogist or sit with the elders. Ask them what their grandfathers taught them. Ask them to recite the names. We're not talking about made-up surnames. We're talking about preserved lineage. Names going back 15, 20 generations. That's something you don't fake. My own tribe, the Gaddafi, is a respected branch of the Banu Anizah, originally from Nejd, in what is now central Saudi Arabia. We came not as conquerors, but as tribes looking for pasture and land. We didn't erase the local culture, we merged with it while staying rooted in our Arab identity. Go to the Nafusa Mountains and you'll see the same story. Even the so-called Berber regions today have Arab tribes with strong presence and influence, like Rajban, originally from Wadi Dawasir in Saudi Arabia, who settled in the west of Libya in the Nafusa Mountains and has the city named after them. And here's the kicker, many so-called Berber families today carry Arab blood and don't even know it. Or maybe they do, but they've been told to hide it. They've been taught to be ashamed of it. But let me ask you, how can you erase 10 centuries of marriage, alliances, battles, trade, and migration? You can't. It's like denying that Spanish and Mexican bloodlines were affected by the Arabs during Al-Andalus, or pretending that Turkish identity was never touched by Persian or Arab influences. It's a fantasy. Yet somehow, North African Arabness is the only one that's labeled inauthentic. But let's go deeper. Do you know how many tribes in Algeria and Tunisia proudly trace themselves back to Banu Hilal and Banu Sulaim? Whole regions are named after them. Even the city names, the dialects, the proverbs, all of them soaked in Arab identity. When you hear people speaking the Libyan dialect, what do you hear? You hear pure Bedouin rhythm, the expressions, the structure. It's rooted in Nejdi Arabic, not Levantine, not Maghrebi, not Egyptian, Nejdi. Why? Because our ancestors didn't come with books and television. They came with tongues, camels, and poetry. Subhanallah, even our jokes, our insults, and our wisdom reflect tribal thinking. We don't see ourselves as citizens of a modern state first. We see ourselves as sons of tribes. That's not a weakness, that's our strength. You know what breaks my heart though? It's seeing young Arabs in Libya, Algeria, and Tunisia who are starting to doubt themselves. They read some post online or hear some activists shout Arabs are settlers, and suddenly they feel guilty for carrying the names they have inherited. Wallahi, no one should feel ashamed of being Arab in North Africa. We didn't colonize this land. We bled for it. We fought in the deserts. We buried our dead here. We raised our children here. We took the Shahada here. And we held onto the deen here when the French and Italians tried to rip it from us. And here's a truth they can't handle. The resistance heroes of North Africa, so many of them were Arab. In Libya, Omar Mukhtar, from the Minifa tribe, descendants of Banu Hilal. In Algeria, the Hilali alliances fought side by side against the French. In Tunisia, the Banu Sulaim led revolts long before the French even set foot in Algiers. In Mauritania, the Yemeni Banu Makil tribes fought against the colonial European takeover of the region. So don't let anyone erase you. Your name, your tribe, your lineage, they are not colonial artifacts. They're proof of who you are. They're your right. They're your truth. And if that truth makes others uncomfortable, that's their problem, not yours. Brothers and sisters, everything I've shared, from the pride I carry as a Libyan Arab to the bonds I've built with my AMAZIGH cousins across the Gulf, it's all part of a bigger picture. We're living in a time where identity is under attack, where our names, our roots, even our values are being blurred and erased. But the one thing that grounds us, unites us, and preserves us is Islam. And if there's one thing this journey has taught me, it's that Hijrah is not just a historical event, it's a living sunnah. It's the path of every Muslim who chooses to put their deen before dunya, a choice that becomes more urgent by the day. You've seen what's happening in the West, from rising Islamophobia to laws slowly chipping away at our ability to live openly as Muslims, raise our kids on Islam, and speak the truth without fear. If you feel like you're being spiritually suffocated, you're not paranoid, you're awake. But here's the good news, you don't have to stay stuck. Hijrah is possible. It's been done before by people poorer than you, with more responsibilities than you, and less support than you. But they did it because they believed that Allah would provide, and He always does. That's why I wrote my guide. 5 practical steps to plan your Hijrah. A Muslim's guide to a faithful new start. This isn't just motivation, this is real advice drawn from real experience, covering everything from mindset to preparation to picking the right destination. I made it simple, actionable, Muslim first. Buy your copy below. If you're serious about making Hijrah, not just talking about it, then this book is for you. And if you're not ready yet, then read it anyway. Let the seed be planted. Because wallahi, the time is coming where you'll be forced to choose compromise or commitment. And I pray, inshallah, you choose Islam. More stories are coming soon. Stories of Muslims who made the move, who reconnected with their roots. So stay tuned, stay proud, and above all, stay Muslim.